Guys, it will work this time. I want y'all just bear with me just for a second. I didn't let y'all know I was coming, did I? But I am. Come on, get over there. Okay, I'm here and I'm live. All right, I think I got my sequence locked up here. My recording's going, and I think everybody can see my title. Okay, I just want to move my screen up a little bit, if I may, so it disappears out the way. This is a hot one. This is one that drives me crazy. I mean, it really drives me crazy because it's something that's been out there for years, and everybody's not talking about it, and they should be. I want y'all to see the statistics. Is why I took and chose this topic for the night, and I decided to put this up because should not be. Listen to me, okay? This is crazy. Now, remember, I had licenses, did financial planning, broker's license, all that stuff for 32 years. So when I saw these figures, now I retired from that industry in 2012. Now I'm back in it again. Okay, just from a different aspect because financial education, financial literacy, it's all the same thing. But this is the topic for the day, and this is something that should worry everyone that's sitting here looking at this thing. Okay, because see, here's the problem. 8 out of 10 Americans, okay, this was put out by Forbes magazine last year. 8 out of 10 Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That's crazy, right? A lot people could come up with a lot of whys, and I'm gonna try to cover a few of them while we're talking. And the way my screen is set up right now, I just figured out I can't see my notes, so I'm depending on all knowledge from my years of being in the industry. Here's one of the first things I would do when I would visit a person's home. Okay. Now remember, 8 out of 10 people that you pass by every day when you walk out of your door are living paycheck to paycheck. Why? Number one reason I believe is that we're all living over our means. Did you hear what I said? We're all living over our means. So in other words, when a person looks and they say, okay, I got $800 in my bank account this week, and I know in 2 weeks I'll get another $800. That's my money to spend. Wrong answer. That $800 needs to be divided up. Okay? So the first thing I always tell people is that, now a lot of people are not going to want to hear this word, but this is the reality. You need to be working on a budget, living on a budget. Okay? And it takes a while to get into that, so please understand that. Living on a budget is not going to happen overnight because there's some things that you have to do. And I'm going to try to run down some of them, and what I don't hit today, I'll come back and we'll continue tomorrow. But let's go back and take it from the top, okay? Because see, when you get your paycheck, it has to be divided up. It's got to be divided up between your present everyday expenses. I call this your put and take account. Your future savings account, right? We call that long-term savings. Your present bank account, we call short-term savings. Why do we call it that? Because you can be putting money in, taking it out every day. So you're not looking to make any interest on that. Now your long-term, that's where you get into your investments. Okay, and your investments nowadays are kind of limited. Now, when I was in the industry, one of the big things, of course, was mutual funds, real estate investment. People who could afford it, buying straight stocks, annuities. These are what we call long-term investments. This is where you're building up money for the future. Money you're not going to spend 10, 15 years from now. But let's come back to that put and take account, because that's where your rent comes out of, your food comes out of, your car payment comes out of, buying clothes for family comes out of, okay? Possibly buying medicine if you have to visit the dentist. That's why it's called a put and take account. Now, here's where a lot of people go wrong. In that account, you need to build up in that account right there, that put and take account, at least 3 months pay, right? So what am I saying? If you make $2,000 a month, then you need at least $6,000 in there. Because remember, that's a put and take account. So in the beginning, you're going to have to sacrifice to get your money up to that. So that's kind of your emergency account also. Now your long-term savings, that's the future. Then of course you have your income protection. Now, what is your income protection? You're married, you got a wife, 2 kids, right? You and your wife are both working. You're the income bringers into the house, right? You're earning the money. So your income protection is made to replace your paycheck from either one of you if something happens to you. In your terminology, you call it life insurance, okay? And the different ways of figuring out how much you need. But I'm gonna tell you right now, in today's day and age, probably 200,000, 300,000, a mixture of what we call term and permanent insurance. I'll get into that in another chapter. Okay, but right now I want to concentrate on getting you away from this paycheck to paycheck. Okay. Now some people will say, well, the problem is I don't make enough money. No, the amount of money that you make when you first start getting it, you included it all as savings. I'm sorry, as spending. I'm gonna repeat that. When a person goes to work, and let's say it's their first job, and they are bringing home, let's make it small, $500, no, $1,000 every 2 weeks, $2,000 a month. That's what they bring home in their hand. They see that as theirs to spend. That's where the problem starts. Okay, because then what happens next? You go out and you get a bunch of credit cards. Right, credit cards. And sad to say, you're forgetting that that credit card is borrowed money. Okay, and this is why we got to do this in parts. This is part 1. All right, we'll do part 2 tomorrow. We'll come back to part 2. We're going to do part 1 today. I'm just trying to talk about your income coming into the house right now. And the fact that you need to understand that you need to divide that money up. Now, ways of dividing it up, one of the first things that you and your spouse, or if you're single, you need to do, sit down, take a plain sheet of paper, and you list your expenses. And then you line that up with the income you have coming in. And if there's 0 left at the bottom, then Houston, we got a serious problem, okay? Then you got a need for more income. We're gonna talk about that in another chapter. Let's just stay where we're at right now, okay? What I'm trying to get you to understand right now at this moment is that if you're living paycheck to paycheck, if you're one of those 8 out of 10, you can change it. Don't think that you can't come out of this or that you're lost or something like that, because you're not. Okay, you can come out of this. But you have to recognize the problem first. So before we come up with a solution, you have to understand you have a problem. Not just you, but the other 7 out of 10, they have a problem also. And my job is to try to help you out, right? To put you on a path to a better life. Because we're not meant to live paycheck to paycheck. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, how can you take a vacation? Borrow money? Okay. If you borrow money, just like with that credit card, that's a part of your paycheck that's no longer there for you to spend because you're giving it to somebody else. Ooh, you see how deep this gets? Okay. So, I don't want to go long on this particular tape. Here's what I want you to do. Okay. And we'll do part 2 tomorrow, but I'm going to stop on this one right here. What I want you to do right now, I want you to actually get with your spouse tonight. And like I said, take a plain sheet of paper. Or you might be able to just go online real quick, find a simple balance sheet. I'm just telling you a simple way to do it. Plain sheet of paper, line down the middle, income, your net incomes that are coming into your house now. Okay? Not your tax money, your net income. And then line it up with your expenses and look down at the bottom and don't be shocked at the figures down there. Now look, under expenses, you got to list everything. If you stop by Starbucks every morning, get a cup of coffee, you put that on there. Okay? If you grab a newspaper every day, you put it on there. If you tip somebody every day, you put it on there. Because I want you to see what you're really spending and how you can get out of this crazy cycle. That's where we're going to go with this. How you can get out of this crazy cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. So we'll just call this Living Paycheck to Paycheck Part 1. I'm going to change the title up. Okay? Now, we'll take Part 2 tomorrow. So the only thing you're supposed to do today is that you're supposed to make a balance sheet. Simple balance sheet. Get you a plain pad, put a line down the middle, list your incomes, and then list your expenses. And then what you want to be looking at is the bottom line. Okay, now some of you might come up with a minus. Okay, that you actually see that you got more expenses than you have paycheck. Then you really have a problem. Okay? But the one thing from doing this, and this happens every time I've sitting down with a couple and did this, you're going to be shocked at the amount of money that you believe you're spending and what you're really spending. Okay? But now, don't worry about it. We can come out of this together. Okay? Possibility you may need another source of income. No, I'm not talking about going out and you finding another job. Because I know people out there working 2 or 3 jobs and it don't work. Okay? So that's all we're going to talk about today. Living Paycheck to Paycheck, Part 1. My name is Jay Early, and we'll talk about this tomorrow. Okay? God bless. I'm trying to get out of here. This always takes a while for me. I'll figure it out one day.